Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode.
No, wait a minute. I'm doing the intro today. What's up,
Okay.
everybody? We're back, publicly challenged, and it's Clay and I sitting here, and we're just going to talk about a few things and how some things went. And Clay found a new passion because it requires not sitting still and moving through the woods at a pace faster than I would ever want to move through the woods. But nonetheless, let's talk about deer drives, Clay.
Yeah. I love it is a new passion of mine.
So, have
I
you
had
ever
I
done one
had
before? Let's start with that.
so okay, so I a few years ago I tried to organize a deer drive here in Traverse City with there was like seven of us
Yeah.
and it was unsuccessful and everybody had rifles and I don't know. It was just nobody saw any deer,
What do
and
people
it wasn't.
use in these other deer drives then? Shotguns?
Yeah. So these other deer drives, everybody is standing about like the pushers. They're all about 50 yards apart, all using buckshot and
Can't use
shotguns
buckshot in
and buck.
Illinois.
You can't use buckshot.
Nope,
Huh? Why not?
not allowed. Slugs or
Hmm.
straight walled cartridges in single shot rifles.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, so we all had shotguns with buckshot, and then some of the sitters had rifles, but everybody was, you know, knew exactly where to aim. They've been doing it for like 30 some years. They get together the day after Thanksgiving and the whole weekend. And it was awesome. It was such a fun time. I mean, me and my son both got to be pushers and we were just going through and remarkable how many deer got shot. The I was only there for two of the drives and I think maybe 12 to 15 deer were shot.
Jeez.
Yeah. And
But out of how many people? Like 25 people or
no, there was like something like 30 something.
holy cow. Well, that's what, how do they divvy up the deer then?
So, I think that basically um one of the guys apparently is like this Marine that had like 20 doe tags. And I don't really like understand how that works, but basically like everybody just shoots and it's kind of like one of those situations where it's like really hard to tell, you
Right?
know?
Yeah.
Like so I think everybody just puts a tag on the deer, like whoever gets to it puts a tag on it. And then at the end of the day, so like I said, I only joined two of the drives, then I had to leave. But apparently as the day goes by, usually everybody gets a deer. They'll divvy it up so that everybody gets a deer.
30
Um,
people and 12 deer. Are you saying there's more drives than just the two that you were on?
yeah, that's
Oh,
exactly what I was
okay.
saying. Yes. So like I went to the two drives and then I had to go, but those guys went the rest of the day.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Public land, private land, both what?
It was all public.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah,
do if
all
some
public.
schmo sitting in a tree stand up there and you're just walking through the woods, wha boom, ba boom, ba boom, and
So
like walking right on? Yeah, okay.
the first place we went to, there was a dude in the woods and everybody's yelling, "Hi, dear, get up!" All the pushers are supposed to be loud. Everybody's yelling and screaming,
Yeah,
and apparently this guy just like, "What the hell's going on?" like,
yeah.
like 20 people walking at him in the woods, and
I'd pack my stuff up and be like, "F these guys," and leave.
uh, yeah.
Slam,
So he,
slam the tailgate, slam the truck door, throw a little gravel as I'm leaving the parking lot.
yeah,
You know,
um,
that's. I
yeah.
mean, I could see
I
what.
think
Here's my thing, Clay. I gotta say this because
okay.
I'm anti deer drive. Okay,
Uh,
for that reason in particular, especially if it's public land. Like there should be
yeah.
dedicated days. I feel like okay, if you're going to do deer drives, you get together a party or get a permit, and you're allowed like one weekend to do deer drives, and your party, whatever. Right?
Mhm.
That's how I feel about it. Because otherwise, like I'm the kind of guy where I think we talked about it, but maybe we didn't. I stalked and I was like 15, less than 15 yards. Like I was like 20 feet maybe from a deer and didn't even know it. And he didn't know it because it was so thick, that honeysuckle. And you're like, you always talk about messing up people's hunts. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was one of my other buddies. But anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm the only one here. There was nobody else here. And it was raining. So I was like, why not? And I did. And next thing you know, I was like, I thought I heard something. So I figured I'd just lean up against a tree and like sit there for a minute and see what's going on. And then I thought I heard something again. So I stood up and turned around and he went, whoosh, and blew at me and took off. He was right there by me. I didn't have a chance to like draw my bow back. I probably would have hit a million branches anyway, but it was cool because I stalked up that close. Both of us didn't know each other were there until we were right on top of each other. Awesome. I would love to do that more, but I'm not going to do that to where I screw up other people hunting. That's just me. Now, as time goes on and the more pissed off and bitter and angry I get and more Gran Torino-ish, Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino-ish, I get an older age, I'll probably be like, F those people. I'm going to do whatever I want. My land too, because they've been doing it to me for however many years. It might come back to where I finally say screw them and do whatever I want and screw up other people's hunts too. Because this year, I'm not going to lie, it's been crowded. It's been crazy. I actually don't know if you're allowed to do deer drives in Illinois though. There is like something in the book on that. I don't really recall because I'm not really pro deer drive, but I think it's cool that you're happy and you like it and everybody got deer, whatever. But I also am one to not kill tradition. And I bet you some of these guys have been doing it for probably 40 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like a lot of those guys, like, so my brother, he's the one who got me in touch with his best friend from high school. And, he's 35, 36 years old, been doing it since he was 14. And
Yeah.
he said it was already around back then,
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I think that's cool. Like, I think it's cool that people have traditions. They hold on to those. And I'm never one to try and take them away. Like, I'm not going to like put forward legislation, but at the same time, I don't have a problem saying, yeah, not for me. Just like I don't like shooting bison from a vehicle or like opening the door and using the door as a rest to shoot.
Whatever do you mean, Luke? Maybe you should elaborate.
Well, okay, let's get into it then. Bison hunt. Was it a success? Somewhat. Let's just start. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not criticizing anybody's lifestyle or what they do. But I will say that tag required. I have a guide. The guide was provided with the tag. I went and hunted. Bison are harder to sex than I thought at a certain age group. The older they get, the easier it is to sex them. But when they're younger, all the way up until like 5 years-ish, 4 years-ish, it's hard to distinguish them. Yes, I understand that for the majority of it, that the buff on top on a male is lighter, but some of the females, it is also lighter. I've since learned that horn diameter, after I studied, because I could not distinguish them in the certain age group that I was looking at, couldn't distinguish them apart. You would think you would see penis down there or big old nutsack. Not the case. A lot of fur there, hiding it. Even the big mature ones, you see about a pinky of penis hanging. And I'm talking like stud bulls, right?
Yeah.
A pinky size penis. And I'm not talking like Michael Jordan pinky. I'm like talking average dude pinky. Medium frame. Somebody who wears like large to medium gloves, not XLs. That's the size of penis you see hanging. And then fur all around it. Okay? And that's on a mature one. On a young one, you don't even see that. So, needless to say, I couldn't sex them. My guide told me multiple times, didn't get out of the truck, and said, oh, if I go up with you, we'll just spook them if we go together. But I had a camera guy following me, and the camera guy didn't spook them. 37 yards, 25 yards, 28 yards, 40 yards, 13 yards at the very last stalk. Like, totally attainable, totally could have happened, but I couldn't distinguish them, and I didn't want to go to jail or whatever or get fined for shooting the wrong one, so I didn't do it. And then the guide was like, "Well, I told somebody else that they could come hunt the afternoon if we got done quick enough," and this and that. And at that point, I felt like shitty anyway because I knew it wasn't going to happen the way I wanted to, the way I envisioned, the way I knew I could do it, and like proved that I could, other than the fact that I couldn't tell them apart, which just
Mhm.
ate me up, right? Just eating me up inside. So I was like, okay, fine, let's go get on them, and I'll get the rifle. So he drives up on them, you know, and then open the door and throw the gun up and roll the window down, and use the door as or get on the bumper, or throw it across the hood, and take a shot, you know. Um, and I did that, and I shot one. A little bit weirder, and I don't know if I want to go into all the details, but I'm not sure how it played out exactly, even to right now. But I will say that it was way smaller than what I thought.
Mhm.
Um, so I didn't come home with 800 pounds of meat. I still have my freezer's full, but it's not
Mhm.
as full as I think. Obviously it could have been. That's okay, honestly, because the freaking hide takes up a whole chest freezer. I got a 7-quart. It's got a few
Mhm.
things in it. I'm talking like a couple whole birds and some other stuff. And between a head and the hide, took up the whole freezer. Maybe it's even bigger than
Wow.
that. It might be bigger than that. It might be like a 12-quart. Either way, filled up the freezer. And then the other freezer, I got like a 14 cubic foot upright, and that's full. So,
Hmm.
so it's not like I came home empty handed, but things played out a lot differently. And I felt sick to my stomach doing that. In my mind, I felt like I was in a boxcar just murdering bison at that point.
Mhm.
Like boxcar in the old Western days trying to eliminate the bison along the railroad tracks and stuff. And it just, it's kind of saddening to me. Um,
Yeah.
Especially knowing that, like, if I, one, didn't have to worry about the sex, and just putting an arrow or 3 arrows, whatever, into one, would have been a lot cooler. You know, I pretty much had no intention of using a gun and ended up having to use a gun. So it kind of
Yeah.
just took all the thrill and excitement and all that away.
How long
Um,
did you put in for that tag?
like either 3 or 4 years. I think it was 4 years.
Okay. Well, that was pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah. Wife says I can do it again, and hopefully I get a different guide and try and do it with a bow. And if not, bring a different rifle and you know,
Yeah, but you could also study the heck out
anatomy.
of
Yeah,
the.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like now I do know that the diameter of the horn is twice as large as the eye on a male, and typically
Okay.
even in smaller, younger ones, it's still the same case.
Okay.
So the diameter of the base of the horns is bigger than the females. The females tend to have a eye is the same diameter as the horn, the base of the horn. So something. Also, I want to note something. When we were talking to Jenna Roselle, um,
Mhm.
I said like Ruger Mark 7. What I meant to say was Ruger Mark 4. They're on like the 7th generation of that. And I said it's
Mm.
funky. So I just want to clarify that before anybody says anything or tries to like say I'm an idiot and absolutely don't know what I'm talking about. Ruger
Well,
Mark 4.
I thought that, but
I know. I know you
I'm just
probably did
kidding.
too. But so it's Ruger Mark IV, like 7th generation of the Mark IV, to where it's all
Ah,
funky and it's I think it's like a stainless steel barrel with like a carbon sleeve or some crap on it. It was weird. It's funky.
mhm.
Um, I always hated how you have to take them apart and clean them too.
Yeah.
Because so I think the newer generation, like it's different. So that's kind of cool. But like the old ones, you just have to take like a 2x4 because you didn't want to use a brass mallet because that was still too hard. But typically, like on firearms, if you're working on something like your punches and stuff, you always use brass punches so they
Hmm.
don't mar the metal. But on these ones, you would actually take a 2x4 and you would tap the barrel, the end of the barrel, and the whole action, the upper action with the barrel and everything would come off in one piece off the lower. So just kind of cool. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I was actually listening during the edits and I'm like, what an idiot! I totally misspoke on that one. So I wanted to correct it
Mm.
in case anybody else was listening and being like, well, this guy's an idiot. I'll never listen to what he says about firearms ever again.
This is spoiling. I was gonna write in under a fake, under a pseudonym,
I figured you would. Yeah.
and uh,
Yeah.
but anyway, you know what is kind of interesting though, in a different vein, is you went to hunt bison, and then we were talking about deer drives. But like one of the ways in which people used to drive animals was bison and drive them right off of
Off
cliffs.
of a cliff and then have a
Yeah.
big butch. See, but to me, that's here's the other thing. And my buddy and I were kind of going back and forth about this because technically they were fenced in. Okay.
Mm.
It
Oh, the
was,
bison?
yeah, there was 3 units. They were each like 3,000 acres that they would like drive them to, and rotate them.
Okay. Yeah.
3,000 acres is a lot. Like, I don't care who
Yeah.
you are. It's a lot, especially if you're on foot.
Hmm.
But there was fence around it. And I'm like, man, that sucks. I'm telling my buddy this, that went with me. And he's like, anywhere you go, there's fence. He's like,
Yeah.
even if you go to public land, half the time there's still fence. If it's not old fence that's like fallen down somewhere, even on like, he goes, even on public land that you hunt, he's like, there's old boundaries of old fence marking, distinguishing between fields and stuff that's now, not really relevant anymore. But he goes, it's still there. He goes, the notion of having anything free roaming or free ranging without being cut off by an intersecting road or something doesn't exist anymore. He's like,
Yeah.
so he's like, first thing you need to do is get that notion out of your head. He's like, plus we drove through a gate, he goes, that doesn't even have a chain on it to hold it shut. He's like,
Mhm.
he goes, a bison could very easily push on that gate. And I'm like, you're right. You're right. But he's like, anywhere across the United States at one point in time, it was barbed wire all over the place,
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. Like, if you think about it, though, I mean, it makes me sad that we can't go back. Like, if I had a hot tub time machine,
Hmm.
the, I'd go back to the old, like the heyday of like trapping and all that kind of stuff, and it'd be cool to hunt like plains elk and moose and just all kinds of crazy stuff that doesn't really exist in many of the states now. You know,
Well, yeah, but all those things were in such greater number because there were so many less people
that's
too.
what I'm saying. Yeah, I would go back so I could see it then, because
Yeah.
now it's sad to think about how much expansiveness that expansion has happened, and
Hmm.
like all of the expansiveness that once was will never ever ever be again, ever.
You know what
Like,
yeah.
even
Well,
even
no,
if
but
it
that's
was
not true.
no, even if there was like some type of apocalyptic scenario, right? The
Hmm.
damage, like eventually the roads and everything will be overgrown and stuff, but like it won't be the same because we've cut it up, we've sectioned it, we've gridded it. Eventually that'll go away, but it won't ever be like it was.
Okay, but have you looked at the new population demographic information that's coming out?
No,
You
kind of
know,
scared too. Like smart cities. No, I'm just kidding.
no, no, like so we are in a
Decline.
like a fertility crisis, and
Yeah.
it's actually far more scary than most people realize. So like in by the time my son, like if he has kids,
Okay. Are you saying fertility crisis as in like people can't get pregnant? Because I
well,
am
there's
noticing
there
a huge uptick in that as well.
okay, so it's that, but it's also like fertility as in like people just aren't having
Yeah.
babies. So and even if they are, they're not having, like for instance,
As many as me.
uh yeah, but like for instance, even me, like
Yeah.
I've had three kids, but since it's with two women, that is only replacement for each other, and so we haven't none of the us have
You have
actually
not offset.
contributed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, by the time my son, if he has kids and he remains a hunter and he takes his kids out to hunt, his his kids might enjoy a world with way more animals and way less hunters because they're saying that right now that in 3 generations we're going to have a third less people in the world.
Well, that's all by design.
And
If we want to go
no,
into that, but I know what you're saying. Like you're being
but
serious and I'm being semi-facetious.
yeah, but the thing is that like um that's really like so basically what that means is that each generation um before the next generation is going to be a third bigger possibly than
Yeah,
the one below it. So that means that there's going to be not enough kids and young people to keep caring for the old. And in each generation it's going to get worse and worse because people just basically like one thing leads to another. People grow up in a world seeing less kids, so they get used to seeing less kids. So like their
yeah,
idea of like being an adult means like, oh, you just have like 1 or 2 kids.
right. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not here to say to moralize either way. Like I personally believe that maybe it would be a good idea to lower the population gradually, like to less numbers. Um,
You
but
know,
by gradually I mean like like
so
you
not
take
so don't launch like a global EMP, wipe out everything, and then like more than half, probably 2/3 of the
yeah
population dies off within the first like 8 months, yearish.
yeah.
Not
If there
like
was a
that.
global if there was a global EMP, 8 months is that you're being highly optimistic.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, yeah, it probably, you're right. 3/4 of the population within 8 months.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Half
like
half would be gone within the first probably 8 weeks.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. You'd see
Yeah.
massive starvation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the whole point that I was trying to say was basically that like think back to the early settler days. Um, the so you had Daniel Boone leave Kentucky because it
It's
was
too
getting
crowded. Yeah, I went to
too.
Missouri. Yeah. Yeah, it was too crowded for the likes of him. But what I find insane is the vast amounts of land that were amassed to him in his
Mhm.
fortune, and somehow he squandered it all away. One, because he was just probably, honestly, he was probably like me. Like if I didn't have my wife to like be like, oh hey, this is due and blah blah blah, this is due and like remind me about things, I'd be like, whatever. You know what I mean? Just like,
Yeah.
but so I'm guessing maybe in the same regard, he was kind of like me in that aspect. Like, I don't know, it's terrible to say, but like, I don't think about things like that. I'm too preoccupied with whatever either recent infatuation or something else like more long term than the short term goals of like car payments. Like
I think he was just a really crappy businessman. I mean, I just
as
read
am I. Clearly we have not done as much with this podcast as we could. But
yeah.
anyway, uh, for me, it's about the passion of it. It's not about the business side. You know what I mean? Like if I was a businessman, I'd
Yeah.
probably be way better at that. But would I be as passionate? Would I, try and learn the things and hopefully everybody else learns the things that we learn too? I don't know. You know, um,
Well, I tell you what, man, I have loved passion and stuff and done that for most of my life. And now this year I have really decided that passion doesn't pay the bills as much as money.
it doesn't. It doesn't.
so so like
Some
I'm
of the
really
best things
leaning
in life are for free.
yeah.
For but you could give that to the birds and the bees
Yeah.
because I want some money. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like even if money was thrown at me and you and this podcast, you'd have a hard time convincing me of selling out or like say just for instance like company X approaches us. They're semi anti hunting, but like appear like whatever. And
Hmm.
they're like, "We'll give you $2 million. You keep doing your show, but we own it."
Hmm.
I'd still have a hard time letting go of that.
I would be crying as I was grabbing the briefcase full of money.
But the thing is you'd have to convince me of that. I mean,
I don't want. Okay, I guess I'll take the $1 million.
would you though?
Yeah, are you kidding me, dude?
But if there was like a non-compete thing to where you could only do this podcast, you couldn't like jump off and be like, "What's up, everybody? We started a new one. Come and listen to us." Like you had to
Hmm.
stick with that one, and like nothing said, like they can't tell you what to do, but they just kind of like verbally were like, "You guys just keep doing your thing."
Yeah. Um, I
I don't
I would
know.
I would
I
I
would
would probably
lose
do it.
I would lose so much sleep over it. I barely sleep
Yeah.
now. I've been
Yeah.
wearing my watch and like getting my sleep score, and my wife have been like comparing, and she's like, "Oh, I got up 3 times with the baby, and it's like 32 or whatever," and I'm like, "Must be nice." She's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's 14."
What is I don't understand. I've never done it, so I don't
It's
understand the
like
sleep
it's
score.
movement, heart rate, pulse ox, other things.
Hmm.
So apparently, I toss and turn and sleep like crap.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Hmm.
Maybe I should get a sleep apnea machine or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I don't know. And then like I just wake up, and if I'm up, I'm up. So like when she gets up with the baby, I'm up for another like hour and a half just laying there because she's up. You know. I know you don't have that
Yeah.
problem.
Um, no, if I wake up in the night, I go right back to sleep.
I
And I don't
can't.
pee at all in the
I
night.
don't do that. But like
No.
I just man, I don't know.
But since my breakup in August, I have slept like absolute poop.
Oh,
But
stress. Like yeah.
yeah, but it's getting better. It's like slightly improved. Um, it's just I mean, how can how could you leave like an 8 year relationship and not be, you know, affected by
Be a narcissist.
it?
Be completely absorbed in your own and don't have any emotions for others or yourself.
I guess, but yeah, so I've been
I
sleeping
know you're a
like
feely kind of guy,
I'm not
all
okay,
full of emotions and all
no.
kinds of
See,
mushy stuff.
you know what's funny about that, Luke, is
Just
that
harden up.
I
Bury
I
your
am
feelings deep down inside until they cause like butt cancer or something, okay?
so, but what I was gonna say is that I I am I'm a man that's willing to express my emotions, not but that doesn't mean that I am emotional. It just means that like I'll tell people, and
I would
I was
rather
talking.
just like give somebody a death stare across the table and be like,
Yeah.
I see where Gran Torino dude was going with this. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
then tell some people like, and chances are, if I don't talk to you at all, it's because I really don't like you. I
Mm,
won't talk to you.
yeah.
Sorry, honey. No, I'm just kidding. I love my wife. I do.
Uh,
Obviously, I mean, we got 4 freaking kids. Um, but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. What
Yeah. I
else,
mean,
man? Other than me
yeah.
feeling like a bison murderer and
Oh,
you driving deer and clearly ruining other people's hunts and
yeah.
me misspeaking about Rugers, what else we got?
We have like over 2 feet of snow, and
That's awesome. Good for you.
I
Break out those snowshoes.
yeah, I actually well, that's what I was gonna say is I went out today snowshoeing,
Hmm.
and I don't know I don't know if it's like normal, but I sink a lot in my snowshoes, and I mean I'm not sinking all the way
It's
down.
because you're too fat. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'll sink like like
Are they the
I'm
right
210.
size? Like they should be a certain size for a certain body mass, correct? Like there is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
proportion. I would figure you would be able to do that and figure that out.
yeah. So
Are you not a
I've just
mathematical guy though?
um I I am
Like an analytical math kind of guy, or like
I am good at math if I do it, but I often don't like to do math.
I
So
hate
like
math.
so if I
Absolutely
put
hate math.
yeah, but I I do math in my head all the time. I think it's funny too. Like I'll hand people cash at the store, like gas station, and before the machine says, tells them how much it's like, and I'll be like, whatever, $1.86.
Yeah. Right.
And everybody's always like, whoa, and I'm like, oh, I could do addition and
Yeah.
subtraction. Wow.
I hate math, and especially when you get into like more advanced mathematical stuff, algebraic, whatever. But for some reason, like physics, when it's applied, like if it's on a piece of paper and it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I got all these numbers and like this is this, and oh, look at this variable. But the moment you put it in like physics or like some type of scientific like situation like of something, then all of a sudden I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, I get it. Like this makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't understand otherwise. Like, I don't know. I see things though. Like I'm not good at like, I don't know. Just weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Math is hard.
Yeah, but either way, so back to the original point. I should have different snowshoes, but I just stuck it out.
Why don't
I've stuck it out with the same snowshoes for like 10 years.
Even worse, Clay. I can't believe I'm going to cut you off and I'm going to say, how dare you even use snowshoes that you didn't make?
Oh, yeah. Well,
you should be out there steaming pieces of ash and bending them.
Yeah, I should.
You know what? I'll make you. I'll make you. No, some. I'll sit around the fire this winter, and rather than watch TV, I'll make you a pair of snowshoes.
That'd be sweet. Well, make them for a 200-pound man.
But I'm going to use parachute cord, I think, instead of like sinew or something. I'll bend the wood and I'll use paracord. But
that's so lame. I can't believe you would do that.
What do you want me to use, sinew?
Just kidding.
You know what I could do? I could cut strips from the bison hide and make snowshoes.
Yeah, that would be super awesome. Yeah, so we're apparently though going to have 45 and rain on Monday.
Yeah, isn't that stupid? We're going to have that too.
Yeah, so
Sunday.
So we're gonna go from we got like 2.5 feet of snow right now down to like I don't know, whatever it's going to be, like 6 inches by the time it's done.
Yeah, that's lame. Hopefully we get dumped on. I hope we could just, honestly, I want to get hammered with like real winter weather.
Dude.
Although now that I say that, it kind of sucks because like my normal route to work has been like detoured, and it sucks because I got to take like crappy roads that probably won't be managed. And then I'll regret saying it at that point. But as of right now, I want a winter freaking wonderland.
Yeah. Well, we had, so last night I drove back from Bay City where my brother lives. It's a 2-hour trip. And it took me almost 5 hours.
Oh, nice. Good for
because
you. Snow, man.
It was insane. I was driving 15 miles an hour for many hours.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, the only last thing I want to say is go to the store, buy something. I haven't shut it down yet, but I plan on it. Unless you guys support the podcast through the merch store. And if you do that, publiclychallenged.com, there's all kinds of stuff for somebody for a nice holiday gift.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I got nothing. Nothing else.
Yeah. Go follow my Substack.
Go to Clay's Substack, not the weepy, sad, sappy, emotional one, but the one where he talks about foraging.
And hunting.
And hunting.
I'm writing one up about deer drives.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
And once again, thank you so much for listening to the Publicly Challenged podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please subscribe on whatever platform it is you're listening to. Also, if you could leave a review, that would help us out. And you could check us out on Instagram or at publiclychallenged.com. And once again, thank you so much for listening to the show.